How's it going, everyone? Vlad here and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to be talking about the manufacturing industrial automation architecture stack. We're going to be talking all the way from the bottom, which is going to be your field devices, about your PLCs, HMI, SCADA, MES systems, and all the way to the top, which is going to be your ERP or enterprise resource planning. Now, the intent of this video, of course, is to educate, to understand a little bit better the data flows between the systems. So whether you're on the plant floor operating and working with some of these systems, whether you're a decision maker on how to bring in some of that equipment, maybe on an engineering or maintenance team, or if you're allocating capital in more of a management director or VP type of role, you need to understand the architecture, you need to understand how the data is currently being sent between those devices, and ultimately you will be able to communicate better with your internal teams or external teams that are coming in and doing some of that work for you, for which you need to be asking better questions, whether that's contractors, whether that's consultants, systems integrators, or SIs and or OEMs. So without any further delay, let's get started with the most fundamental level, which is going to be here all the way at the bottom. And I'm going to write that down as field devices. So field devices are a critical component of manufacturing because they are ultimately the interface between the physical or the process and mechanical worlds and the digital world, right? So what do I mean by that? Well, the field devices are ultimately what, first of all, understands the state of the process. And those could be your sensors. So that could be a level sensor, a position sensor, a temperature sensor. It could also be a vision system, so something a little bit more complicated than just a pure digital sensor, but ultimately it is something that captures the side of the process that needs to be understood by a brain of the system, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. But ultimately, in order to actuate certain outputs, right? So outputs could be of different variety. Ultimately, those are your conveyor belts, those are going to be your lift systems, your pumps, ultimately driven by motors. It could also be your push actuators, right? So there's going to be a lot of devices that actually do an action within the physical world that transform your raw materials into finished goods. And so ultimately what I want you to take away is that field devices in a general sense are not going to make the decisions. They're just going to be the interface between the physical world and the digital. So they're either transforming a mechanical state or process state into a digital signal, or they're taking a digital signal and transforming that into an action. So for example, a motor is going to take a voltage, of course, and a current applied to it, and it's going to actuate either a conveyor belt or a pump or what have you. So like I said, taking electrical into the mechanical or vice versa. So extremely important, and we'll get into some of the nuances. So as of the over the last couple of years, I would even dare say decades, devices have been getting smarter and smarter, but ultimately field devices are not going to make the decisions that need to be made on how the process operates. And that's where the next layer comes in. So here I'm going to draw a slightly smaller box, which is going to be your PLC and HMI layer. So here PLC and HMI. And PLCs are basically, and I don't want to assume that everyone knows what a PLC is, so I'm going to bring this up just for a moment. So here I have two different PLCs on this specific rack. So this is a Automation Direct PLC as well as a Compact Logix from Allen Bradley. But ultimately, as you can see, a PLC, as far as the hardware is concerned, is just a gray box in this case. But what a PLC is inside is a processor or a microcontroller or microprocessor that will make those decisions based on the state of field devices and then set the state of the outputs based on what the process needs to be. So ultimately, a PLC is sort of the brain of the operation. A PLC is optimized for process performance. So its main concern is to take the state of the field devices and actuate specific outputs based on that state. So therefore, there is a very direct push and pull, or I want to say data flow between the field devices and your PLC, as well as the HMI stack. Now, the HMI, or the human machine interface, is going to be essentially what allows the operator or someone looking at the specific machine to understand what is happening and then make certain decisions. So just like we talked about the field devices, an HMI is basically a field device that allows the operator to make those decisions. Now, the reason why it's stuck between the PLC and HMIs, because nowadays HMIs are also smart devices. There's going to be programmable HMIs, There's going to be some logic written inside of the HMIs. And even in the older days, if you look at systems written in RSU32, you could run a lot of different code that you would normally write on the PLC, but inside of your HMI. And we'll see in just a moment where SCADA systems come in, because they're also somewhat blended with the HMI ecosystem, and it gets a little bit more complicated. But ultimately, at this point, what I want you to take away is that you can have a fully functional environment without anything else that would produce a product based on just field devices and PLCs, and I would say even without HMIs, because ultimately you can also use push buttons that would be actuating just digital inputs. You can use regulators that would be used for analog devices. And so ultimately, all you typically need in a very small systems environment is field devices and a PLC that you would program to actuate certain outputs. The next layer is going to take it up a notch. So here I'm going to draw another box, which is going to be called SCADA, Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, which is what the acronym stands for. And ultimately, SCADA systems, like I said, are a bit of a blend of your HMIs, but I'll add that extra layer of data. So where does the nuance lie? So number one, typically when you're talking about an HMI, and again, there's no solid or hard definition, everyone's going to have a slight variation of this, but when I'm talking about an HMI, this is going to be for a standalone machine or maybe a small process. As soon as you start translating to SCADA, you're looking at an entire line, maybe an entire zone or a process, or the entire facility. So if you've ever seen videos where you have someone sitting in front of multiple screens, chances are that is a SCADA. If they're standing in front of a machine and they're poking at a single screen, that is going to be an HMI. Now, like I've mentioned, the lines are blurred because nowadays I can program an HMI that will talk to many different machines. I would say dozens, if not hundreds. Again, I don't think it's a limitation on the technical side. It's more of a definition so that we're on the same page as to what is being truly deployed. Now, where does this data aspect come in? Once again, on an HMI, you can also collect data, you can trend data, you can even trend data, or you can capture data on the PLC. It is just not its primary function. So at the SCADA layer, this is where you need to start understanding process data. And the reason why I add this process data in front of it is because as we'll go up the stack, there's going to be different utilities for that specific layer. So at the SCADA layer, you're trying to understand how the process is performing from a technical standpoint. You're trying to make decisions how to fine tune, for example, different PID loops, how to maybe trigger certain valves in a different formation than it used to be. So ultimately, the SCADA is going to be this operational layer that allows you to oversee a larger portion of the facility and also to start it up better, to understand the data, and to make decisions once again on the technical side of your system. This is where I'm also going to draw this sort of this dotted line at the SCADA layer, because depending on how you're deploying this, and we're not going to get into the architecture of the networks in this video. Maybe if you have a question on that side, we can tackle it sometime else. But ultimately, this is where the OT and the IT worlds typically clash, right? And so what do I mean by that? So OT, or operational technology, and IT, information technology, is going to typically dictate where some of these components and whom these certain components are usually serviced by. And so the SCADA, like I said, provides a lot of value for the OT side, but ultimately the way it is deployed, it's going to live on usually on on-prem servers or edge servers. Again, there's a lot of debates around that side, but ultimately it's going to be this blend of OT and IT interactions that make this layer possible. The next layer, right, and I'm going to draw this in a little box, it's going to be your MES, or manufacturing execution systems. And manufacturing execution systems are going to have no, or I want to say very little, control over the operations. They're going to be used primarily for data capture, data analysis, and ultimately decisions that allow to make the manufacturing process better. So what kind of metrics are we looking at here? Well, the most fundamental one that you'll see almost everybody talk about is OEE, or your equipment efficiency. And ultimately, your OEE metrics are going to allow you, like I said, to capture how the process or the production line is performing in order to make that process better, right? So fundamentally, your MES system does not need to know the state of every motor at every second. It does not need to know the level of or the temperature of your tank system at every millisecond like the SCADA would. So the distinction that I would usually make is that, like I said, SCADA is concerned with the process and the technical side. Your MES layer is the link for your data to understand the process from a management standpoint, from perhaps a Lean Six Sigma standpoint. So this data is not going to be raw, and this is something I didn't necessarily discuss this time, but here I'm going to put a raw data label which is coming from your field devices. So your sensor is going to update every single time. It's going to continuously read the level of your tanks, the temperature of your tank, etc., etc. From that raw data side, this data is going to be sent to the PLCs. PLCs are going to capture raw data. They're rarely going to forward raw data before transforming it in any way. It can be done, and usually that's done though at the SCADA or maybe historian or maybe edge device layer. But ultimately, this raw data is going to live in the PLC and HMI before it's being sent anywhere else. And so at the MES layer, you don't necessarily need to consume all the raw data. So here you're going to have a connection from MES to SCADA very often, and sometimes you're going to consume more data than the SCADA has, so you're going to drill down to the PLC and HMI. And again, based on my experience, why does this happen? Why do you need to have two connections or multiple connections? There's a lot of debates about, UNS and how you would structure data, your data lake, your historians. So again, there's a lot of nuances, but ultimately what typically happens is that you have a deployment of old systems, whether that's on PLC, HMI, SCADA. Someone comes in and is looking to get more information about the current operation of the process, right? So they're concerned with the MES component. They're looking to understand how is the business doing from a manufacturing standpoint. Therefore, sometimes it is easier for them to get the raw data that has not been transformed by this different group that deployed a SCADA, or because the SCADA is just simply too locked up or is obsolete. So they will go and fetch that data from the PLC and HMI layer. Now, again, remember that the SCADA system is going to primarily talk to your PLCs, and the SCADA system is going to talk to multiple PLCs and sometimes multiple HMIs, again, depending on the architecture. So it is possible that the MES can get all the data it needs from SCADA. The next layer, or at the very top, we have the ERP. So I'm going to draw this slightly smaller box and label it ERP, but usually it is actually the most encompassing or the largest system you would see within the business. So MES, or manufacturing execution systems, is concerned with the manufacturing system only. It is concerned about the metrics when it comes to manufacturing. It is concerned with something, for example, like a batching process if you're cooking or if you're running something in batches. It is not concerned about the rest of the business. The ERP systems are concerned about the rest of the business. And so some examples besides the MES, right? So this is going to obviously connect to the MES, but it is also concerned with accounting. It's concerned with human resources. It is concerned with engineering. It is concerned with other, for example, inputs on the raw ingredient side, so your suppliers or supply chain. It is concerned with your buyers or your distribution centers that are going to be the output of your manufacturing process. So what I'm trying to say here is that the ERP system is going to consume some, but usually not all of the data that is currently being produced by the MES. So as you can visualize the stack, you can see how the raw data is going to slowly shrink as you move up the stack. And the reason for that is obvious, right? Because ultimately your PLCs need to understand all of the data. If you have a sensor that's not being utilized inside of your PLC, you might as well remove that sensor. If it's not going to some kind of a hub, if it's not making some kind of a decision, it is a useless device. Similarly, your SCADA is not going to ingest every single data point that's coming from the PLC, because you're looking to understand critical points, you're looking to understand fault codes. You don't need to have data that is cluttering, so to speak, at the SCADA level. Next, you have the MES. Again, the MES is looking for higher level decision makers. Whether you're trying to understand on the daily level, on the week level, or maybe on the monthly level, you're trying to understand the performance of your specific facility, your specific line, maybe your specific shift team. And ultimately, the ERP is not concerned about all of those metrics. It is concerned about some of them, and depending on the maturity of the organization, it probably wants to ingest as much information as possible, but in most cases, it's trying to schedule runs based on business demand and the other parameters. Like I've mentioned, there's going to be distributors, supply chain, there's going to be storage of ingredients, but ultimately it's trying to schedule based on the current availability of the process as well as the performance of the process, and enable you to foresee what's going to happen in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year, so on and so forth. So ultimately, I hope that this paints a clear picture. If you have any questions about the different layers, if you have a question about how some of these layers are deployed or maybe handled by the OT or IT teams, happy to have that conversation as well. Don't hesitate to reach out. If you have some questions or maybe topics or suggestions for the following videos, make sure to leave them down in the comments, and I will see you next time.